We're all excited about that in particular. So what I didn't mention at the beginning is a little word about what we're going to do in terms of questions and answers. We're going to allow the auto manufacturers to give their quick snapshots of their vehicle products that they're bringing to the market. And we'll run through all 4 of those, and then we'll open it up to the audience for questions and answer for the entire panel. So next up is Forrest Beanum from Coda Automotive.
Good afternoon. I'm actually standing in for Mike Jackson. Yes, Michael Jackson. While certainly he has a more exciting name than do I, the senior leadership at Coda, based on name only, decided that perhaps Forrest would be more aligned with this conference and its green initiatives than Mike. But in all seriousness, it's good to be here. It's good to see so many stakeholders in the audience and so many Hawaiian shirts. I left mine at the hotel, but I brought my flip-flops in my briefcase, and depending on how comfortable things are, I might walk out in them. As opposed to Nissan's presentation, this is really an introduction because Coda, for the most part, has not been quite as active in the press as you probably all know. One of the reasons for that is we've been focusing on our battery technology for the past 3-4 years, and we're finally coming to market in the next 30 days to a month and a half. So you'll be seeing a lot more activity. Perhaps you saw today's New York Times piece or last week's USA Today piece, but you'll be seeing a lot more of that in the near future. One of the things we have not released, and as Mr. Peck alluded to with DOE types of discussions and not being able to have additional detailed discussions, is on our pricing. We will be announcing that in the next couple of weeks as well. But I'll allude to it and touch upon that in a little bit more detail a little bit later today. So in front of you, you see the Coda sedan. Our mission is to accelerate the adoption of the all-electric vehicle. We do not have any other vehicles that we are launching. It is purely this sedan for now, while we do have version 2 and 3 in the pipeline in the future. And one thing I just wanted to say, and I want to acknowledge, are in certain contexts you might say competitors, but our partners in terms of accelerating this goal and mission, Nissan, GM, Mitsubishi, the Chevy Volt. I mean, all of those folks really deserve, and Tesla, of course, all of those people really deserve the recognition and some accolades in terms of doing what is good for this planet and moving us away from dependence on fossil fuels into a situation that is not only creating U.S. jobs, but is creating energy independence, which I think we all here can agree is extremely important. Let's see. So our name, Coda, comes from the musical term the end of one movement and the beginning of the next. So when Mr. Peck said, "Welcome to the revolution," it's in keeping. I thought of Gil Scott-Heron in "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," but I also thought to myself how that really is in keeping with our mission and our name, which is really to move away from one movement of fossil-based fuels and into the next, into the future, which is electric vehicles. As I said at the beginning, this is our goal to advance the acceleration of the adoption of electric vehicles. We work closely with many of the NGOs based in Washington. The Electrification Coalition, for example, Robbie Diamond's entity. Our CEO, Kevin Zinger, is on the board of that and works very closely in mapping out where the charge points need to be and thinking about infrastructure issues and thinking about battery technology issues and how to bring these industries and OEMs to the U.S. and to heartland areas and to where jobs have been lost, in all honesty. So quickly, this afternoon I'll be going through 4 major states of our business model. First and foremost, our core focus on battery technology. The challenge, as you'll see here, is moving from small format microelectronics to a purpose-built battery. And as I mentioned, we've spent the last 3.5-4 years doing so. And what we've come up with is a lithium iron phosphate prismatic battery that is purpose-built. And we believe will have true range of 100 to 120 miles range at US 06 standards. I put some of the attributes up here, the real world attributes, and I was not in a Coda car yesterday driving around the island, but I did drive around the entire island, and I couldn't help but think how the island is absolutely perfect for all electric vehicles. Just in terms of where you could base charge points to the limited distance, and I don't think the temperature and the thermal management system issues are an issue for Coda, but certainly this island and the rest of the islands of Hawaii are perfectly suited for electric vehicles. As you'll see here, similar to some of our friends and competitors, we have, torque is through the roof. We have limited our speed to 80 to 85 so that we could guarantee the true range of 100 to 120 miles, in addition to some other details. Here you will see a couple more details about the sedan. We are currently at a 4-star NCAP rating, which is at the top of safety. Safety comes first to Coda, and we believe by next year, when we introduce more than 14,000 of our vehicles, that we will be at 5-star rating. So moving on to smart independent partnerships. This is at the core of how we operate. And this is an example, a snapshot of some of the types of partners that we're talking to, which really kind of feed into our service infrastructure and our ability to work with big brand names that really help consumers feel good about their purchase and about the reliability and service infrastructure for their vehicle, including entities like Firestone and Enterprise and AAA. All of these things are, of course, regional, as you all know, so different amounts of service and different nuance service models are given with each different model or each different company. But we believe that this is the beginning of smart partnerships with those types of companies that will lend to consumers feeling confident about purchasing the Coda. And moving into the reinvention of the sales, distribution, and service model. This is really at the core of our business model. We will not have a traditional dealership model, and I did note a couple hands were raised from the dealership community. What we hope to do is to have people do initial research online, and if you want to think about our sales model as perhaps what you would do with the Apple or with Dell computers, where we believe a majority of people, when they're buying cars these days, actually do the price comparisons online and want to go into a dealership and don't want 3 people to hand them secret pieces of paper and then for financing to be a slightly higher number. And so what we endeavor to do is to reduce that, that level of anxiety, which we've done target studies and realize people feel, so that people do a majority of the research online and then come into our experience centers to learn about the true breadth of their carbon footprint and about greater issues that are pertinent to the environment and how Coda fits into that, and if the Coda car or an electric vehicle is right for their style of living. I think it's the average driving range is about nationally on the mainland as well, is about 34 miles per day. And we believe that Coda and a lot of our other competitors with 100+ miles is perfectly suited for picking up your laundry, dropping off the kids, those everyday things, going to work, going to your academic institution. So in terms of our fleet strategy, this will be from 50 to 60% of our strategy. And we're talking to private and public sector possible partners within this sector. And you can see here municipalities are included in that. Entertainment agencies and studios, being that we're headquartered in Los Angeles, also play into that. And there are just a vast amount of opportunities, and there's something for everyone out there in terms of fleet opportunities. So this speaks a little bit to what the sales model will be for Coda. And in the next 30 days, we'll be relaunching our website. And so what you see here is a little bit of a teaser on how it will look. First, we would like to invite folks to visit Coda and to learn not about our product, but about the Coda movement. Because what we're doing is we're launching not only a car, but a movement, this energy independence movement, if you will. And after we invite them to sign up for our interest list, we begin to interact with them through providing critical information, news, environmental studies, things from the Environmental Coalition, through the second step of the process, which is the second picture in the middle at the top. From that, we invite them into our experience center or our green rooms to actually experience the Coda. At that point in time, they will be able to get in the Coda, to drive the Coda. We'll be able to give them the keys, let them go for 45 minutes and track what they're doing and begin to pull in the information about their driving habits, et cetera, as well. Then we move on to the purchase process. And you can see this lady is very happy to get a Coda. And moving to the left, we get into the creative community, and here's where you all come in. We believe that our community is not only in our fleet purchase partners and or our service infrastructure, but it's with environmental stewards of a cause that is critical. And we believe that it's with environmental coalition NGO types of folks. We believe it's with our competitors. It's really creating this sense of community in a broadly defined way. And what we're seeing through the press and what we're seeing through different interest groups is that there's a real pent-up demand indicative by so many hands being raised a second ago, 20 or 30 for those people interested in buying an electric vehicle in the next 2 years. And what we'd like to do is really kind of harness that demand and harness that energy to accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles and to catalyze this movement and community. And then from there, we move on to the one-on-one relationship. And what I mean by this is from the first moment you pick up the phone and you call the Coda Center, you will be assigned what's called a Coda Valet. And that same person will be the person who walks you through the sales step process, who meets you or talks to you at the Sales Experience Center, and eventually, when you have any service or maintenance issues and you'd like to bring in your Coda for its checkup, will be the same person that you speak to. So creating a kind of continuation, a continual point of contact with this Coda Valet type of person, we believe is revolutionary, and it's in keeping with what is a disruptive technology and approach. And these are just several different renderings. On the left, of course, is a traditional service sales dealership model. And on the right is a rendering of what we see the Coda Experience Center to be. Very live, colorful. You can interact with different statistics that are kind of being streamed on the walls, and very kind of Mac-esque, and what we believe is really the future of car purchasing. And this is one of our flagship stores that we're in the process of designing in Santa Monica, California. It will be LEED certified, at least gold, and we're looking into platinum at the moment. We believe that this will not only be a service center in which folks can learn about their carbon footprint, et cetera, but also a community center where we can begin to host activities and events that further our mission, whether it be for educating the community about diesel particulates or bringing in classrooms and teaching them about what their options are when they're finally able to own cars at age 16. And finally, I had to slip this one in. I couldn't get the surf racks on the car in time, but this is Coda, and we're very excited to be here, and I look forward to entertaining any questions that you might have in the future. Thank you.
That's great, Forrest. Appreciate your energy in helping to facilitate the revolution, and looking forward to, and we'll keep our eye out for the pricing of your vehicles.